Hot, Murph.
It's smoking hot, and it'll be smoking hot at Levi's Stadium on Sunday. Bring your wide-brimmed hats and water, y'all, because the 49ers and Cardinals will be playing in that sun on Sunday, and Larry Krueger will be there, and he'll tell us all about it right now with our weekly hit. You can see him, by the way, on our YouTube and Twitch, the multimedia Larry Krueger. What's up, Krug?
What's up, Larry?
I was just thinking, as you were saying, maybe Bay Area schools should get out for summer like right now.
I know, right? Is this our summer? I mean, people know this. If you grow up here, this is our summer. Krug, this would be like the Giants playoff weather. You know, you go to Candlestick Park when we were kids, the few times they made it, 87, 89, 97, it was warmer at Candlestick then than it was during the summer.
No question. Fall weather is awesome.
Yeah, a little too hot for me, actually, quite frankly. So, all right, buddy, what's going on with this team? Well, first, let's just go here. Because when, Krug, we listened to you for years, and you were the king of the trade. You'd be driving around at night, you'd be like, what if the Giants moved, Barry Bonds for, Roger Clemens, 808 KNBR. So, Devante Adams for Brandon Ayuk, yes or no?
No. Did I say that loud enough?
Come on.
No.
Come on.
Here's why, Murph. The average prime of an NFL wide receiver is 5 to 7 years, and he's 5 years older. So you're giving away an awful lot of his prime.
I think it just speaks to, people are upset with Ayuk. The text line was heavily like, yes, do it. People right now, Ayuk's stock is low right now.
Well, there's no question Ayuk is working his way back into shape, and he hasn't looked great. But I wouldn't want to trade him away for one. You just paid him all the bonus money, so that money's gone. So it doesn't make a lot of sense to trade him right now. But also, I don't want to. If I was going to trade him, I'd rather trade him for somebody who's younger. Give me Garrett Wilson. Give me. Don't give me a 32-year-old guy whose best football's already been played. I'd rather have somebody who's a little younger.
Yeah, and even if you were looking to trade Brandon Ayuk, I think you would probably be looking at a different area on this roster that could need some help. And that spot to me would be the defensive line. Larry, what was your breakdown? I know it was the New England Patriots last week, but the revamped defensive line and their performance against Ramondre Stevenson.
I thought they looked great. I mean, they held Stevenson to 3 yards a carry, but it wasn't just that they looked great. It was who was doing it, right? Because there was no Hargrave, and you had guys step up this last game that are going to need to continue stepping up if they're going to be good. And I'm talking about Malik Collins, who had 1.5 sacks. I'm talking about Kevin Givens, who had 2.5 sacks. I'm talking about Sam Aquinu, who's a practice squad guy that University of Maryland, they signed him last December. He had a tremendous game. The rookie Evan Anderson really looked good. So they got some help up front, Marcus, from some guys who hadn't been contributing. And if they're going to go forward without Hargrave, they're going to have to do two things. They're going to have to blitz like they did blitz last week, about a third of the time, and they're going to have to get good performances out of some of these guys that are relative no-names. And I think it's possible, but I do think running back with McCaffrey and defensive, his status unknown, and defensive line, if they're going to make any trades, I think they're probably going to it's going to be for one of those two positions.
Yeah, and real quick, Larry, I wanted to follow up on that topic of blitzing because the 49ers entered last week's matchup with the lowest blitz rate in the entire NFL. So do you think that was something specifically done by Nick Sorensen just because they were playing against a team like the Patriots, or is that something that you would like to see incorporated more moving forward?
It's a great question because the Patriots did have a real problem on the left side of their offensive line with a new left tackle, a new left guard. So maybe some of it was due to the fact that their O-line is so challenged. But I think it has more to do with the Niners and that they can't, without Hargrave, they don't get that push. And I think they want to mix it up and not, give the defense a solid understanding of which four rushers are coming, or if there's going to be a 5-man rush, if there's going to be a 6-man rush. I think this is something, it's like the old saying, if you don't have the guys and you can't play man-to-man on the back end, you play zone. Well, it's the same thing. If you can't get it done with 4, you got to send extra guys. So once Hargrave went down, I think it was kind of a fait accompli that Sorensen's going to bring extra guys the rest of the year.
Yeah, I mean, New England's O-line so bad. It'll be interesting to see how they do against a different O-line, a better O-line. So we'll see this Sunday, 49ers Cardinals 105. Tom Brady on the call. That'll be fascinating for Fox doing his thing. I'm interested, Krug, in your take on the Ricky Pearsall situation. It was exciting that the possibility that he might get activated. He was not. it gets you to thinking about how serious the incident was on Labor Day weekend. Like, my God, the guy got shot. It's insane. But also just the Niners activating him have, a 3-week window? I don't know if what you're feeling or hearing anything down there.
Well, I mean, this week, Murph, was the first opportunity to open that window. And once the window's open, they have 3 weeks to activate him to the active roster on the 53, or they put him on season-ending IR, and essentially he's out for the year. So, I just think they want to take their time with this. I will say this. I mean, I've seen Ricky walking around without his shirt. I don't see any marks on his chest, on his back. I don't see any bullet hole, bullet wound. I mean, it's amazing to me. But at the same time, he was asked about the shoulder. Kyle was asked about, is the shoulder still a problem? Kyle said he was over the shoulder injury before the attack. So it's not the shoulder. They're just taking extra precautions. And I do think you'll see him probably next week. I think they're just being extra conservative.
Moving forward to this weekend's matchup against the Cardinals, I'm curious from your breakdown, Larry, what's the number one matchup you're looking at, whether it's Kyler Murray using his legs, whether it's James Conner against that defensive line, Marvin Harrison Jr. on the outside, or Trey McBride, who sounds like he's coming back this weekend? What's the number one matchup you're looking for against the Cardinals offensively?
Well, I just think it's Kyler. I mean, I just think that if you're going to beat them, you gotta somehow not just rush Kyler, but you got to stay very disciplined in your rush lanes against Kyler. He's only averaging 4 rushes per game so far, and he's only averaging 41 yards per game. But you guys, we all know Kyler could bust the Niners for 100 yards. I mean, he could have 30, 40 yards in one run. So you got to rush him and stay in your lanes and make sure you don't give him a true avenue. I think that's number one. And then if you can't stop Conner, it's going to be a long, long day. So, and he's a load. So you got to bring multiple hats, to the party, and you got to gang tackle Conner. So I would say if you could shut down Conner and you can shut down Kyler's running, I think you got this team beat.
I mean, you'd like to think they've beaten the Cardinals 4 in a row, but it's always a division game or weird. It just gets weird. So they got to take care of business, get over 500 going into the Seattle game for sure. Just a quick word on Brock Purdy. I was driving in this morning real early, Larry, and listening to Dan Orlovsky, and he was talking about the Bucs game tonight, Bucs-Falcons, and he was saying Baker Mayfield's playing better than all but 2 quarterbacks in the league. And I was driving going, oh, cool, here comes some Brock Purdy love. He said, Sam Darnold and Geno Smith. And I was like, wow. I mean, I understand Geno, the Seahawks are 3-1. He had a nice night Monday night. But I was like, bro, I mean, Brock Purdy to me, like, I think he's like top 5, right? He's playing at an elite level right now, in my opinion. What's your opinion?
Well, there's just no doubt. I mean, there's no doubt. We can talk. I mean, I could sit here and if you gave me 10 minutes, I mean, I could put together a statistical case that would make an argument that he's the hottest quarterback in the game right now. I mean, not only is he doing all this stuff, holding the ball, second in the league in passing yards, making the right decision, running when he should run. There's an incredible, I just tweeted out, Chase Daniel did an incredible breakdown of some of the key plays in the game against the Patriots. But to me, where Brock's really special is the fact that he's operating behind a line that is not stellar. That's not one of the top NFL lines, and he's been doing it at times with no Debo, no CMC all year, no Kittle at times, and he hasn't missed a beat. I mean, he has not missed a beat. And if you're around this team, you go into that locker room to a man. I mean, these guys have this love, admiration, and respect for Brock Purdy, not just the person that he is, but the player that he is. And you hear guys like Fred Warner say, "Man, this guy's elite." This is our guy. He's the best, stuff like that. Richard Sherman, who knows a little something about football, saying Brock Purdy's elite, an elite quarterback. So, I've been all in really since the beginning on this guy. But I do understand why people had their reservations. He doesn't come in the same packaging as a lot of the 6'5", 225-pound quarterbacks that are out there. So I get it, but I mean, at what point do you throw away draft position and just say, I'm going to acknowledge what I'm watching with my own 2 eyes each and every Sunday? It's like, I'll defer to what I'm seeing on Sunday over his Mr. Irrelevant draft position.
Yeah, and that's the thing, Larry. Everybody has an opinion on Brock Purdy, but not everybody has an opinion on Jalen Graham. Larry, that's a name that we talked about this summer. I need the Larry Krueger breakdown on the Niners poaching back Jalen Graham to the squad.
Well, Marcus, they had a bunch of injuries, but they never should have let this guy get out of the building. He is a terrific player, and it sounds a little hollow right now because he's gone from practice squad with the Niners to practice squad with the Commanders to now being on the active roster, buried on the depth chart. There's going to come a day where this guy's going to get on the field, and people are going to see what I'm seeing, what I saw when I saw him at Purdue. Guys like Fred Warner. Fred's like, man, that's my guy. I'm so glad he's back. I was really sad when he left. The Niners didn't want to lose him at the cutdown, but they just got caught up in a numbers game. They went with Flanagan, Fowles, and Campbell. Now Campbell's struggling. Flanagan, Fowles is dinged up. Curtis Robinson's done for the year. Fred Warner's dinged up. They need more linebackers, and this guy's fast. He's explosive. He can play all three spots. He can play the Mike linebacker and wear the green dot and call the defense. I mean, he's a really, really good player. So we haven't seen it out there yet. Eventually you will, and then we can have a real conversation once he starts putting together 10, 12, 13, 14 tackle games.
I know, it's exciting. I'm glad they were able to pinch him back. So, all right, well, they got to take care of business this weekend. The D-line has to answer the call. Brock's got to continue to do his thing, and we'll see what Ayuk does. I will just hit for fun, Larry, before we let you go. We threw the line at over, because Ayuk's numbers have been underwhelming, right? Mm-hmm. And there's a number of reasons. We can get into defenses and conditioning, but what do we have? 4.5 catches over under. And then just for fun, we went 69 yards, just so we could say pause. 69 over under yards. What do you say?
Those are the yards is maybe a little on the high side, but as far as I'd rather that number be in the 50s. But you know what? I'll say this. He's rounding into form. If you watch him every day, you can see him getting better, a little bit better every day. I thought this last game he looked the most like himself and most like he did a year ago. I think you're going to see him continue to round into form, and I'd like the over on both those.
There it is. All right, Krug, always fun, buddy. Have a great weekend. Have Niners Nightly tonight. Tomorrow night, we'll be listening, and have a great weekend, dude.
Yeah, thanks, Larry.
You guys do the same.
Larry Krueger, he'll be the man. Beat the heat. We got one last region. I finally came up with a great region on the other side. So, all right, well, listen. We're getting close now. Tomorrow's Brian and Bobby's Best Bets. Will you go to the Niner game? I don't know.
7-point spread.
And by the way, I'm declaring it's comeback October. It's come back after an early September. We're just getting absolutely battered by the college landscape. I'm locking in.